And talking about a true defensive death lineup, quote unquote, this could be a really fun combination now with the addition of Marcus Smart, maybe adding him with a guy like Jared Vanderbilt. That would be a more matchup dependent thing and kind of how they're playing in that individual game. If they're playing well offensively, if they're knocking down their 3-point shots, and obviously if everyone's healthy for that fact, then we might be able to do that combination. And if we're talking about that combination because I've seen many people referring to it, yes, you could go with something like Luka Doncic, LeBron James, even though yes, you can argue against that not being their best defensive combination, those two are going to be in there no matter what. Then with those two, obviously both Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt, if we're talking about defense, those are their best two defenders at the perimeter in my opinion, so gotta add them in there too. Then for their final fifth player in the lineup, if you're talking about a bigger lineup and a more traditional lineup, then put DeAndre Ayton in there. Also a pretty good defender when actually committed and healthy on the court, so that's not a bad option. Or if you want to go more of the small ball lineup and kind of more versatile option lineup, then maybe a guy like Rui Hachimura. I mean, at that point, wouldn't have to take on a tough defensive matchup, so wouldn't be a terrible option. Maybe a Jake LaRavia. Obviously it's getting to a smaller lineup at that point, but could be another option. But for the, basic one and simply adding both Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt, that would kind of be their best defensive lineup that would actually be a go-to option for them. The 5-man combination of Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Marcus Smart, Jared Vanderbilt, and DeAndre Ayton, which would definitely be a fun lineup combination to watch play out and definitely would be very defensive minded at the point of attack. I mean, if they're looking to bother and really pester opposing guards out there, then this would be the lineup combination to go with. Between the two of Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt last season, they combined to average roughly 4.5 steals per 36 minutes. That's pretty impressive between two singular players alone here. Then for deflections per 36, combining for 9.4 of them per 36 minutes. So yeah, between the on-ball pickpocketing, between the on-ball pestering and simply being an annoyance out there, being two defensive menaces and causing a lot of chaos on the court, that would definitely be the best defensive-minded combination to go with. Definitely their best point of attack defense combination. Might be a little bit inconsistent offensively, between the two of Vanderbilt and Smart not being very reliable offensively, not being great 3-point shooting options, but then again you still got Luka, LeBron, and Ayton for that, so I think they probably could get around it. Not sure if this would be a true closing lineup combination. I doubt we'll see it very often, but throughout the rotation and throughout games and maybe against teams like the OKC Thunder for example, definitely having to take on both two good guards like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams, that might be an option for that kind of matchup. So again, whether or not it's a defensive combination that they use at the end of the game, whether it's simply throughout the game or maybe 5 minutes in a matchup here and there, it would be a pretty fun combination and definitely a defensive-minded combination for them. Though if we're talking about maybe a more go-to closing lineup for their team, I'm not sure we'll see both Jared Vanderbilt and Marcus Smart in there together. You could maybe point to one of them, and I think that one more often than not will be Marcus Smart here. And probably if we're talking about a closing lineup, then Austin Reaves will factor into the equation. Maybe looking something like Luka Doncic, Austin Reaves, Marcus Smart, LeBron James, then either DeAndre Ayton, or again if they're going in the more small ball direction, which they tend to finish the game with in that kind of combination, then it might be Rui Hachimura here. Obviously will be matchup dependent, but obviously still have some pretty good offense and defense here between Luka Doncic, LeBron, Austin Reaves, Marcus Smart for the toughest point of attack matchup on the court, even can match up with some smaller to medium-sized wings, so isn't a terrible defensive option lineup. LeBron can definitely lock in when he wants to yet and during the end of games. Luka is not a terrible defender when he actually locks in. Austin can be decent when he locks in, so not a terrible lineup defensively, and definitely one of, if not their best offensive lineup combination too. I mean, talking about ball handling ability, playmaking, scoring ability, 3-point shooting even, they have plenty of it out there with this 5-man combination, which is mainly referring to the Rui Hachimura combination here. Obviously having the playmaking ability with Luka, LeBron, and Austin, even Marcus Smart for that fact, 3-point shooting between Luka, LeBron, Austin. If Rui Hachimura's in there, another great 3-point shooter for their team. He led their team in 3-point percentage last season, so definitely could be. And I think we will see that lineup combination with them going forward, or at least given that they don't trade Rui Hachimura, which I don't find very likely, at least not to begin the season. Maybe at the trade deadline if they don't come to a new contract with him, but that's a topic for a different day. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I would greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.